Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a deeply moving narrative from our source material called The Memory of an Empty Chair. And honestly, this isn't just a story. It's a really profound case study on how love actually persists after loss. We're going to unpack the sheer architecture of grief, breaking down those quiet, totally unseen ways that we process the absence of someone we love. So, settle in, get comfortable, and let's explore this together. The house had become quieter. Not silent, just quieter. I really want to let that linger for a second. The source material doesn't kick off with wailing or some huge dramatic event. Instead, it grounds us right in the physical space of absence. It's that heavy, heavy atmosphere where the absolute baseline frequency of a home has fundamentally changed. It's the kind of quiet that honestly actually hurts.
And that brings us to a core concept we need to completely redefine right out of the gate. We see this in The Grandfather, Dadu's powerful realization. Grief isn't just some fleeting emotion or a wave of sadness that you eventually just get over. Not at all. It is an active, exhausting, ongoing process. It's the literal rewiring of your brain as you try to figure out how to exist in a world that is suddenly missing someone absolutely vital to your daily life.
Phase 1. The Echo of Absence.
The narrative gives us these incredibly specific sensory details to really plant us in the present moment. You've got the ceiling fan still rotating slowly, the old clock ticking away, birds just sitting out on the mango tree, the rain tapping against the glass. Visually, sonically, everything is exactly the same as it was when Grandma was alive, but nothing feels the same. That normal, comforting background noise of life, it's completely transformed into this overwhelming echo of her absence.
And we see this mapped out so clearly in the unconscious habits of loss. It's been 6 whole months since Grandma passed away, right? But look at the grandfather's morning routine. He stares blankly at the boiling water, basically forgetting how to even make tea. He forgets he already put the sugar in, and step 3, man, this is the one that really gets you. He still instinctively places a second teacup right by her empty chair. This is the unseen mechanics of grief. It lives in our muscle memory. It's woven right into the habits we spent years building around another human being.
Moving into Phase 2, Love in Small Things.
Okay, let's really think about this for a second. When society talks about love, we usually focus on the big stuff, the massive sacrifices, the grand promises, the sweeping cinematic romance. But Dadu makes this incredible point to his grandson Vihan. Real love, he argues, is actually found in the incredibly mundane, everyday stuff. It's someone asking if you remembered to eat, someone reminding you to take your medicine, or even just someone folding your clothes terribly. The point here is that true intimacy isn't about grand gestures at all. It's woven into the ordinary, daily fabric of our lives. And honestly, that is what you actually miss the most when someone is gone.
We see this captured perfectly in the memory of rainy evenings. Just a simple shift in the weather, the rain hitting the windows, and it triggers this entire sensory history of care. Suddenly, the whole house would smell like fried onions and spices for Grandma's pakoras. A weather pattern isn't just weather anymore, It becomes this vivid recollection of her forcing everyone to eat a little more. It's a visceral memory of feeling completely and totally cared for.
Phase 3, The Weight of Memory.
Let's trace how this specific evening unfolds. 10 minutes in, it's just quiet tension as they struggle to make tea in the kitchen. But by 30 minutes, the vulnerability starts to open up when they bring out the old blue box of photos. At 60 minutes, there's a power cut, forcing them to light a lantern, which totally shifts the mood into this confined, super intimate space. And finally, 90 minutes in, they reach the absolute emotional climax, reading her final letter. It's such a beautiful reminder that deep, healing conversations don't just happen instantly. They need time and they need a quiet space to really unfold.
And right out of that blue box of photos comes this absolute gem of a detail. You look too serious. Those were Grandma's very first words to Dadu, referencing a photograph of him back when she was just 18 years old. And it's so incredibly moving when the grandfather points out that she then spent the next 40 years successfully trying to make him smile. It's this wonderful, lighthearted fact tucked right into a really heavy theme, and it perfectly maps out the entire lifetime arc of their relationship.
So how does she remain present in his life now? Well, it's not through ghosts or anything supernatural. It's through the deep echoes of habit. Dadu literally still hears her scolding him about taking his medicine. He can still catch her scent lingering on her old shawl. He instinctively turns over in bed, fully expecting her to be right there. He even remembers her very last instruction from the hospital bed. And it wasn't some grand, dramatic goodbye. It was a purely practical reminder to water the jasmine plant. These moments just show how love becomes a permanent structural part of your mind after you spend decades with someone.
Which brings us to Phase 4, the final instructions.
Just listen to how she kicks off this secret letter. If you are reading this, it means I probably worried everyone again. I mean, her personality just instantly cuts through all the tragedy. Even when she's staring down her own mortality, she is wry, she's self-aware, and she is just so deeply affectionate. She diffuses all that unbearable tension with her trademark humor.
And then she gets right down to business, issuing her commands to her husband. Eat on time, take your medicine, don't pretend you are strong all the time. The silence sitting between those lines is just profoundly heavy. She was managing her family like a loving military commander right up into the very last second, making absolutely sure they had the practical tools they need to survive without her.
Next, she addresses her grandson, Vihan. And Vihan, study properly, sleep on time, and keep making your grandfather laugh. This is it, right here. This perfectly captures the generational bridge of grief. She's essentially passing the baton. She is taking the responsibility of care and of joy and handing it directly from herself to her grandson, giving them a shared purpose to keep going.
So here is the absolute most crucial takeaway of this entire explainer. It's this exact line from her letter. Love does not end when people leave. It simply changes form. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a massive shift in perspective. The relationship isn't over just because the person is physically gone from the room. It is just transformed. It transforms into memories, into muscle memory, into habits, and into the new ways that we care for each other in their honor.
And that leads us to our final section, Phase 5, Love Changes Form.
The rain finally clears out, and these tiny stars start appearing in the sky above the village. And Vihan remembers Grandma's belief. Stars are people we miss watching us. It's just this beautiful, quiet moment of hopeful relief as the story starts to wind down. Suddenly, the darkness outside isn't just a big, empty sky anymore. For them, it's totally filled with silent observers of love.
We wrap up with this incredibly powerful question from Dadu. Do you know why memories hurt so much? Because they were beautiful. It's the absolute perfect summary of the dual nature of grief. The pain you're feeling right now, it is an exact one-to-one measurement of the beauty you got to experience. You literally cannot have one without the other. And it leaves us with this really profound realization to chew on. When you look at the incredibly mundane, totally ordinary habits of the people you love today, which of those quiet little moments are currently building the beautiful, painful memories of your tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.